Today we're revisiting a product called Google Sniper by a guy named George Brown, and he claims that it's light years ahead of anything else. But in this review I'm going to explain to you why that's just a load of crap. So my first big problem with George Brown's Google Sniper is that it's just flat out false advertising. On the sales page, you're promised a product that's pretty much set and forget. He calls it a system that you just set up once, it takes almost no time, and you don't need any technical skills or anything like that, no experience required, and it sounds like a dream come true. But after you buy the product and you actually log into the members area, what you find is something very, very, very different than what you were sold. When you get into the members area of Google Sniper, you have hours upon hours of lessons and strategies and techniques that you would have to spend hours to just sit through and learn. But then on top of that, each and every day or each and every week that you continue with this system, you actually have to do a ton of work getting it set up, getting it running, and keeping it running. And that wouldn't be so bad if, one, you weren't lied to in the beginning and told that you were buying something completely different than what you're buying, and two, the lessons were up to date and actually valuable, and now I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. My second problem with Google Sniper is that the program is just extraordinarily out of date. I mean, it's mind-boggling how out of date Google Sniper actually is. And I originally reviewed Google Sniper a little over a year ago in June of 2012, and I wanted to re-review the product and revisit it because a lot has changed in search engine optimization over the past year, and ultimately that's what Google Sniper is it's a bunch of training and a bunch of lessons on search engine optimization, which is the practice of optimizing your website to get ranked at the top of the search engines when somebody searches for a particular term. Okay, so I wanted to see if Google Sniper has changed at all to keep up to date with all of the changes that Google and other search engines have been making. And the fact of the matter is, it just hasn't. Search engine optimization, historically, for years now, has been mainly built around link building links back to your website. And that's how you would get your website at the top of the search engines. You would build out a site, and then you would practice link building. You would get a bunch of links to it, and you would get up to the top of the search engines. And that's what Google Sniper is teaching you, is it's teaching you all kinds of things like that. And mainly the core, the foundation of Google Sniper is those link building strategies. But the big problem is, on May 22nd of this year, 2013, Google actually released an update to their algorithms that's being referred to as Penguin 2.0. And what Penguin 2.0 does is it specifically targets those link building strategies that Google Sniper and other programs have been teaching, and instead of not really being effective anymore, it's even worse than that. Your website, after you build it out and you follow the strategies in Google Sniper, will actually be punished. It'll be penalized, and you'll be moved further and further and further down the search engines because you're using these link building techniques. So I revisited Google Sniper specifically to check that, and it turns out it's even more out of date than it was when I originally reviewed it due to the latest updates by Google, and you're just going to get in a lot of trouble following the strategies that you would be using in Google Sniper. And that brings me to my third problem and my final big problem with Google Sniper. And that's the fact that from the very beginning, George Brown is just lying to you on the sales page. You're being sold one thing and you're being delivered something completely different. And this ties strongly back to my first point, but it really comes back to an ethical issue for me. It's not even a bait and switch, it's just completely lying to you from the very beginning, because you're sold something that's promised to be very automated. You don't need any technical skills, you don't need any experience, and then you get in and you think you're getting the system that only takes a few minutes or a couple hours to set up, and it's actually a ton of ongoing work and a lot of ongoing effort, and then on top of that, it's not even effective anymore. It's just horribly out of date. So you're being lied to from the very beginning, and you're being told that you're getting something that's automatic and that you can kind of set and forget, and really you're not. And then on top of that, the strategies don't even work anymore. And that's my biggest problem with Google Sniper, is that you can't trust this guy at all when he's talking about what his product does, because he delivers you something completely different than what you originally signed up for based on what you heard on the sales page. So what's my final verdict on Google Sniper by George Brown? Well, I think it's probably pretty obvious by this point, if you've watched any other part of this review, that I absolutely recommend you 100% avoid Google Sniper. It's just not a good program. There was a point in time where the strategies and the techniques being taught by George Brown in this program were semi-effective, but that golden age of search engine optimization is way far gone. It just doesn't work anymore, and actually it's going to get you penalized. And then to top it all off, you're being lied to from the very beginning on the sales page. You're being promised one thing and you're being delivered something completely different. So there is no way in hell, frankly, that I can recommend Google Sniper by George Brown. So thank you so much for watching this review. I hope you found it helpful. My name is Ian from NoMoreBSReviews.com, and I do reviews like this to try and keep you safe on the internet, but I also have a ton of 100% free internet marketing lessons and training and resources on my website. So if you are looking for some great resources, and I'm not going to charge you for them, I never charge for any of my stuff, you can check out my website, NoMoreBSReviews.com, and you'll be able to find them there. They're all over the website, all kinds of lessons and training, and I'm just trying to do the best I can to set people up for success in this industry when everybody else is trying just to make a buck off of them. So in the meantime, until I talk to you guys again in my next review or lesson, best of luck out there, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.